If you've ever
We also call it the World Global Government Summit. Obviously, if you haven't seen the video I did a few days ago where I showed you some of the clips, maybe you saw some other channels do it, or maybe you saw it on your own trending somewhere, Facebook or Twitter. But obviously, a lot of people are on to this now in this new world order. It's no longer this tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff. Sure, the zombies will say that it is, but they're flat out telling you it. So it just shows you that they don't have a brain in their head. They just have, I don't even know if they have a mouse on a wheel in their head. I don't know what it is in there. I mean, just steaming feces like the dump from Jurassic Park, maybe. I don't know. But nothing's going on in their head. So when they flat out say the New World Order is here, these people still don't get it and what it means. And that, they just, it's pretty pathetic. They'll still be like, that's a conspiracy. Well, in all the stuff that they talked about the same things that I always talk about here, the digital currency, how that's necessary, right? So many different things. I went through a lot of their videos from the past because I wanted to see what they were prepping for, even mentions of the 1/9er and things like that. And well, they had what the world will look like, what our future will look like 5, 10, 15 years from now, of course, running right up to 2030. And well, take a look at some of the things that are in there because this was 6 years ago. And now every one of these things is really in play. And you can see why. Even living the new reality becoming the virtual one.
What will the world look like in 5 years? How about 15 years? How about 30? How will we educate when programming has become the first international language? How will we travel when we don't need to know the way? How will we heal when new organs can be printed on site? How will we work when our job is a thing of the past? How will we interact when virtual reality becomes the new reality? These are the questions that will shape our world, our governments, our families, our future. Introducing the World Government Summit, an international world-class event bringing together 3,000 world leaders from over 100 countries. Innovative perspectives on 50 of the future's most pressing questions in healthcare, education, technology, cities, and society. Asking tomorrow's questions today. Join the conversation. World Government Summit, shaping future governments.
So you have that, some of this stuff in there, right? The advancements, these are things I've talked about. Advancements in the robotics, obviously everybody knows that. That includes Neuralink, by the way, because when you talk about technology and humans connecting, that's, they're talking about that in your DNA structure. But 3D printed organs, right? I've talked about the 3D printed meats, the 3D printed organs, all this stuff. Of course, this has to do with graphene, right? That'll be the substance that they use. That's one of the things that they use to do all this stuff. But 3D printed organs and 3D printed meats. And this also includes the not needing doctors anymore because robotics will be doing that type of crap. And of course, then some of the other stuff that you see in there when they show you the virtual reality, which is just, well, this is stuff that I've been talking about, and I don't understand how people don't see it, but they talk about the virtual reality becoming your reality, becoming the world that you live in. And that's what I'm talking about here with the Mark of the Beast and end times, and of course the book of Revelation talking about how people will seek death and not be able to find death because their brains are going to be uploaded and literally connected to this. Now people think that's a conspiracy now, but when this 5 years from now, when we have people openly doing it, like they ease things out and they say, oh, well, so-and-so in Sweden is the first person to upload their consciousness. Now they're living forever inside of this casket thing, or whatever, this thing like the thing you see in the Matrix where they're connected to it. People will be like, oh yeah, it's normal, it's cool. They'll never remember saying that we're all, nuts and tinfoil hat wearers, and then they'll just go along with it and want that when they pass. It'll become the new normal. Instead of going and getting, put in a casket, put in a box underground, or getting cremated, whatever you do, they'll be like, yeah, no, it's, I can't wait to get uploaded, right? And why? Well, because of all the predictive programming I've shown you from the TV show Upload to X-Files to all these shows constantly talking about uploading your consciousness, living forever, that programming, right? All the songs, everything about live forever, right? Forever young. The celebrities constantly talking about being immortal, right? So all this stuff is being prepared for that. This mind control is getting people prepared for that in the virtual realm. Now, two of the other things to note, so they're talking about what the world will be like in 5 to 10 years. that they covered at the World Government Summit was discussing the next step for connecting people to the digital realm, which they're actually pushing the metaverse. And like I said, the metaverse will be, if it's not named metaverse, if it's something else, because I don't know if, it seems like the perfect transition, right? Because everybody's on Facebook. So they can start grabbing people on there because they have such a reach and easing them into that. That's why it makes perfect sense. However, they could, of course, have another company come in like Apple with their own metaverse and say, well, this is the better one and blah, 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 blah. So it could be the test run with the metaverse. But it's funny because at this summit, they're talking about Facebook and the metaverse as, this is a corporation, but they're talking about it like at a World Government Summit as like, this is the future of our world living inside of this. And there are two things that they showed at this year, 2022, at the summit, talking about not just metaverse and living in the metaverse, but also the smart cities.
What is the metaverse?
Companies are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into the vision of the metaverse.
Bitcoins were created in 2009.
Facebook has acquired Oculus VR for $2 billion.
Fortnite, it's more than just a game, it is a pop culture phenomenon.
Microsoft Mesh connects the physical and the digital worlds, allowing us to transcend the traditional boundaries of space and time.
Our company is now Meta.
By 2050, the world population is projected to reach 9.7 billion.
By 2050, the number of people over 65 will triple.
So the smart cities as well as the metaverse. So a lot of you know about the metaverse. The smart cities I've covered for 5-6 years now on YouTube, however long I've been here. The smart cities are the next step with these 5G towers going to 6G and having people connected within themselves to this system, right? So drivable cars, they use all these trigger words that people are like, that sounds like fun. Clean energy, safety, right? Oh, you won't have to worry about car accidents. Oh, safety, get to work on time, controlled by the city. And even Schwab talks about the importance of cities in this governance of a new world order.
Now, the third force, which will shape governments, is the trend to megacities. Cities will be important as the key for the delivery system. I know at the end of this meeting, you will have a session particularly related to happiness. Now, if you look who is providing the framework for happiness, it's not necessarily the national government. The national government has as a duty to increase GDP, but it's cities who determine the framework whether people are happy or not. It's cities who provide, let's say, the right measures to avoid congestions in traffic, to provide the right health systems, to provide the educational systems. So happiness is very much determined by cities. Now let me also describe to you 3 major challenges which I foresee for governments and governance. First, the mastering of the technological revolution. I foresee the next 10, 15, 20 years to be characterized by technological change as we never have seen before. If you just imagine for a moment, if you take all scientists, all engineers who have ever lived on Earth since the beginning of humankind, half of those are still alive today. And that shows the tremendous force behind technological innovation. It's not only the internet, and just imagine, the internet has been born only 20 years ago. Mobile telephones have been born only 20 years ago. We just celebrated the 10th anniversary of what we call social communities. And look how much it has already changed. And what we see now, the new technological revolution, is not just changing how we are doing things, it's changing us.
So the New World Order structure will obviously have smart cities at the core of it. These cities that are run by artificial intelligence that are connected to human beings. Sounds pretty insane, right? But the reality of it is this is part of their plan. This is part of the rollout that's going on now. You're going to see test runs of smart cities become this new thing that they talk about over and over again on the TV, where they say, everything's great here. There's no crime. There's no problems. Everything's clean and it's so fresh and everybody's happy, right? These are all things that people hear because remember, this whole happiness, love nonsense that they push, and I call it nonsense because it's a deception. It's not real love. It's like just being in denial of what's going on and being completely just clueless and naive. Oh, everything's great. You ever see these people? Everything's wonderful, and they try to always spin it positively. I mean, look, some of you might be like that yourselves. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with having that mindset. But don't kid yourself now. Don't kid yourself, okay? People say to me, they're like, you're so negative. I'm realistic. I'm a big boy. I can deal with the negativity of it all. Can it wear you down sometimes? Of course. But what am I supposed to do? Be like, pretend this is Pleasantville? And put on a fake smile and be like, everything's great. It's like getting shot in the chest and just walking around being like, everything's wonderful. I'm so happy. Don't mind the hole in my chest and the blood gushing out. Yeah, isn't this beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful tree over there? Huh? I mean, really? That's what it's like with some of these people. They just refuse to see what's really going on. And of course, with a new world order, these people are going to be, they'll be told to smile ear to ear. Because they'll be told it's the most wonderful thing ever, like it's the new Disney. And they'll be like, yes, I want to be a part of that because this world is so horrible. Well, they're making this world horrible. That's what they've done. They've made people grow cold towards one another, right? Because they've divided people amongst race, gender, religion, you name it, right? Political party. I mean, everything. Like I said recently, like your eye color is something they divide people on. Your sports team. I mean, it's just over and over and over. It takes all your energy and attention away from the people who are creating this. But these people who are creating it are loved by extreme liberal people because they think that this just means a free ride for the rest of their lives, where they don't have to work and then they don't have to be jealous of people who have more money than they do because those people actually, I'm not talking about the elites who just, print money. People who actually work hard, and whether they're contractors, whether they're builders, they do stuff well, with their hands or whatever it might be. And they work really hard at doing it because they want to provide for their families, and maybe they want to set up, their own house, their own lifestyle, have land and do this or that. They don't like that, the extreme liberals, because they have no talent. They're not good at anything. They're just good at sitting there shoving their thumbs up their rear ends. And that's pretty much all they've ever been good at. So they're the ones who want this New World Order structure, because they want everyone to be even with them, because they obviously drool at the mouth over what other people have, which is pretty pathetic. But anyway, they'll be the ones who line up for the smart cities. The smart cities will be marketed to people as utopia. And you're going to see test runs. I believe Arizona was a state they were already developing. They bought a lot of land. You're seeing some of these land grabs. They're not just for, taking the land away so people can't buy land, or they're for... Not just for, camp entrapments for people, for citizens like FEMA for us. They're also to develop these smart cities, because they're not going to, I don't believe, use cities that are already in place and turn them into smart cities. They're going to create whole new cities, because the whole infrastructure of the city has to be built around technology, right? Sure, cities are have Wi-Fi and all that stuff, but everything in the city, from the streetlights, has to be taken down and torn up and rebuilt. So they might as well start from scratch, and that's what they plan on doing here. And they're already developing these. And these will be like utopian cities. That's how they'll market it to these people. And they'll want it, and they'll want their bodies connected to it. And they'll be told that it's so wonderful, and there'll be zero free will. because everything will be controlled by technology. There'll be no free will in these cities for the most part. They'll think that they have free will because they'll be mind controlled into how happy and wonderful it is, and they'll be walking around like clueless morons, smiling ear to ear. But like I said, it's like, it's like being shot in the chest and walking around and asking people to, and taking selfies and smiling and uploading it. I mean, it's just like you want to pull your hair out at some of the stuff that these people want, but they will, because it's all about how they market it to them. And that's how they will market this to these absolute sleeping zombies. So they talked about 5, 10, 15 years, of course, leading up to 2030, what the world will look like. To get the world to look like that, they have to destroy everything. They have to reset everything. They have to make it so that people, look, this is the option that you have. You want to, this is the world now. Like it or don't like it. You got to be, if you're not going to be a part of it, then you're not going to survive, kind of a thing. And they talk about smart cities. They talk about metaverse 5, 10, 15 years ago. And then 2022, they're just getting people more and more comfortable with technology being connected to human beings. Pretty scary if you think about it. That's what the world looks like. And that's why I'm trying to warn people about the dangers of technology, connecting to technology, getting obsessed with technology, and most importantly, becoming dependent on technology. Now more than ever, it's important to become dependent on God and on actual skills, learning to do things yourself. Without robotics, without machines, they want you to be dependent on this crap. Learn to farm, learn to homestead, learn to build, learn to become carpentry, all those types of things. Good hobbies to take up while there's still time to do it, so that you don't need to be dependent on, obviously, these people. Learn how to find water, how to prepare water, purify water, all this stuff, survival stuff that, they want you to think is crazy stuff, because they want you to be dependent on their system so that they have control of you.